Welcome to Unlocking Freedom in Nature and Art. I'm so excited to have everyone here. I'm welcoming back a past guest, Natalia, and then my friend Starly, who is my co-host today. So I appreciate each and every one that's watching, and of course, I appreciate my awesome guest. I couldn't speak higher of them. So I'm so excited, Natalia, because today we are going to hear your story, and which I know is going to be amazing because we've never really heard it before.
Oh,
So, and we have so many more followers in my group as well. So, of course, it's like brand new to everyone. And I'm just excited because I do want to hear your story of how you started from. But before we go there, let's find out where you're coming from.
well, I'm calling in from New York today. Usually I'm in the UK on the Isle of Wight, and I came to New York to support and mentor many media companies and educational institutions on storytelling. So that is my expertise and my mission to give a voice to the good people of the world and to do it in the way that connects with people, that plants visions in people's minds and hearts. And I do that through storytelling. And I'll share with you my story because for me, talking
I
and
will.
speaking
Is there
was tough.
Natalia?
Yeah.
I'm hardly hearing you. And Starly, can
Oh,
you hear perfectly? Is it just my computer?
I'm hearing her just a little bit soft.
let's see. Oh, thank you.
I
It's
just want to
lovely
make
though.
sure because I
There
want
we
our guests
go.
to hear
Can
everything.
you hear me now?
Yeah.
I can hear you better myself.
Thank
Yay!
you.
We want to hear
Thank
And
you,
you.
Tammy.
Yes.
Yeah.
and Starly, of course, is coming from Texas. But I
Ooh.
want to say welcome to everyone. And I am ready to hear your story of kind of a little bit about where you grew up, what you were like as a child, as a teenager, just a little of that background.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you,
That
Tammy, for this opportunity. And I hope you can hear me nicely now. Mm, So, I am a storytelling expert and a storytelling coach. Right now, I'm in New York, mentoring different media companies and educational institutions on storytelling as a way to connect with people, to resonate with people. And my mission is to carry forth the tradition of oral storytelling and connect with the humanity of people. When I was a child, it was very hard for me to speak. I struggled with connection and using my voice. I couldn't put two words together. It was something I learned later on, a very weird type of dyslexia, where I would visualize the words and they will all jumble up, even the letters of each word, and when they came out, it came out in a very weird way. And so I experienced my classmates laughing at me, and I thought, okay, just keep quiet. So usually I was the quiet one, or when I wanted to express myself, I was loud, awkward. That made me be quite a solitary child. And there's good and bad in everything. And the positive thing is that I spent a lot of time observing people, observing how they speak, observing how they communicate, how they express themselves. And all of this planted seeds for later on in life when I developed my own method for teaching. And there's always a little story that I tell about my origins when I was around 10 years old in the classroom, and the teacher says, copy the board, I'm going to erase it. And I raise my hand to ask a question, and the teacher says, I've already explained it. How come you don't get it? And that you don't get it stayed in my brain up to today. So it's something that I reframe, and I reframed my whole life. That's the power that teachers have and authorities have on us to plant a vision of identity in us. At the same time, when I heard that from that teacher, I looked around and all the classroom was looking at me, and I wanted the earth to suck me. And at the same time, I had this fire in my gut. And I looked at her and I said it in my mind's words because I didn't have the guts to speak then. But I said, one day I'll show you there's another way to teach. I had no idea what that was, but I knew that there was a more humane way, a more organic way. And I was just a little child. And my journey took me to learn drama.
So
And
I'm going to stop you right here real quick, Natalia, because
yeah,
I have an important, you shared such a golden nugget right there.
yeah,
And it was the power of words.
yes,
Because it doesn't matter what we do, it's our words. So we need to stop, we need to think and make sure they are kind and uplifting and encouraging and inspiring. And if you're going to correct somebody, you need to do it in a way that will empower and inspire them. Because sometimes we don't realize that our attitudes will come through our words. It's like another guest, Patty, said, it's also our tone. So thank you for so much for sharing that. So I just wanted people to realize that you had said such powerful words right there.
yeah, very powerful. And that teacher and that authority figure made a huge imprint in me, and planted the seed of, well, how can we make the best possible use of being an authority, of our words? How do people really learn? Because for me, the entire education system was a place in which I didn't really learn anything. And I can't say that that is entirely true, but what I can say is that there was a lot of time, precious time, and abilities that were not being picked and used to their maximum capacity. And that, I know that that experience, I'm not the only one, and many of my age now are the creators of this world, entrepreneurs, visionaries, whoever you have here in the room. Most of us have been educated in the traditional education setting, and we use these tools in our presentations, in our business presentations. We carry the same techniques of just transferring information. I'm giving you the rules. I'm telling you how it is. Don't you get it? Don't you understand? And so it is an inorganic or inauthentic way of passing down information and teaching that I've been subject to, and I wanted to be part of the change. And so it wasn't until 20 years later that I'm in a classroom with 10-year-olds, and I'm sitting on the second desk, and in front of me is not a teacher, is a 10-year-old kid, just like me, the awkward one, the misfit, the one that couldn't put two words together, that couldn't connect, that was always alone in breaks in school. And he has the whole classroom captivated. He is telling a story. He's expressing himself with passion, fluency. And at that moment is when I realized that is the other way to teach, through storytelling. Why? I started every lesson with a story that was authentic, that involved my intonation, the body language that was engaging, and it planted the seeds to each of these little kids of what is possible for them in terms of learning, in terms of communicating. And so they did things that they thought before that were impossible. They understood topics, they could express themselves. And this took me on the journey to develop this as a method, develop the method of teaching through story to support children, to support the new generations, to support adults, and now eventually after decades, what I do, which is supporting entrepreneurs in storytelling, in their brand story, in their presentations, because we are the new educators of the world. The world has shifted from conventional education or conventional work into possibilities, entrepreneurship, free thinking. And so, how can we communicate freely and connect with people in this new world by going back to the roots, our voice, our own authenticity? And especially now in a world where we are overusing AI, going back to our authentic voice, stories, carrying forth values and traditions, using the power of our voice, emotional intelligence in our facial expressions and intonation brings back humanity and trust. And this has given me the tool to communicate now in ways I never thought possible when I was a child, when I grew up in that little village in the mountainside in Argentina, to now impacting little by little the whole world. My mission is to impact the whole of the education system in the world. And that also involves visionaries, entrepreneurs, business owners who are the new educators. Yeah.
So here's a question. I'm going to throw you back to that time zone. What were you like in high school? Were you writing more stories? Were you telling stories? Were you, what were you like as a teenager then? Because you had that 10-year-old, and I know it's led you to where you are now. But I want to know a little bit more what you were like and what family life kind of was. And were you in Argentina the entire time?
I was in Argentina. I grew up in a tiny little village called Villa General Belgrano. There's a whole story. It's like Village General Belgrano is in Cordoba, is the center of Argentina. Belgrano was the one that crafted the Argentine flag, and the story behind that is because there's a German settlement there, and the place became so German at some point that the Argentines were like, no way, this is Argentina, and so it is said that someone burnt the German flag or someone burnt the Argentine flag. So in the end, they named it. This is called Village General Belgrano. So it's a very interesting place where you see a blend of Argentines and Germans. We have festivities. We have many entrepreneurs and free thinkers. And so I grew up in a house of free thinkers. My parents are entrepreneurs. I grew up my dad is an architect. And he built a fairy tale house, which is a cultural house now. My dad is Argentine. My mom is English. She's a singer. And we came to Argentina in 1982, right after the Malvinas War, the Falkland War, which was the war between Argentina and England. And so it was an explosive combination of love and vision. And so I've seen from my eyes the many perspectives of different peoples, from my mom's experience being in Argentina and being alienated because she was English in a time where being English was banned, and from the perspective also of my dad that left Argentina in 1976 when he was a teacher and free thinker, and it was seen as something threatening, and so he had to leave the country and go to Sweden, and that's where I was born until we came back in 1982. So I have various origins, different perspectives of the world, and our house was a cultural house. My parents created music festivals, jazz music festivals, art festivals. So me as a shy child and being unable to communicate was actually quite contradictory to where I grew up, with my mom being so expressive, my dad being a creative, and my abilities were locked, and I couldn't even play the piano. They wanted me to learn instruments. Didn't really push that. It was more of a free environment. And yeah.
Oh, say anything. Okay. I am listening to your story. Oh, Starley has a question.
Yes.
Oh no, I was just wanting to let you know that just the way that you tell the stories, that it really makes us feel
Like we're
that we're
there.
there with you.
Mm.
And some people have the ability to tell a story to motivate somebody to do an action really quickly, others so that you'll understand them. And
Mm.
one of your gifts, I was just holding up my finger for after you were done, but since I'm saying it now, you do pull us right into the story with you. And I think that if you are on a podcast show or a stage or something like that, when you pull people in the way you have, that the authenticity that you spoke of, well, they're feeling it in real time. So I just think that it's a real gift and it's really beautiful. And I was wanting to share it afterward, but
Thanks, Charlie. I appreciate that. I think that what you just said ties in into how I was as a teenager and what was it that I wanted that then effectively made me speak the way I speak right now. So I'm 10 years old and I started my journey in drama and performing on stage, being super shy on the real life and being anything I wanted to be on stage.
I,
It's that's
yeah,
the power of drama and storytelling.
yeah.
It's like the world of possibilities, unlocking everything that you don't dare unlock in the real life because of the concepts that you build in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember that still as a teenager, I didn't connect to many people. I was still shy is not really the right word, but not really knowing how to connect. Probably I my friends were elderly people, maybe because they felt sorry for me, or maybe because I was interested more in what they thought. I would go to metaphysics meetings with people that were 70, 80-year olds, and I wanted to pick their brains and couldn't talk about these things with kids or teens my age. And my parents gave me a lot of freedom to roam around, see friends, and I always kept my word. I'm going to be back home at 10 p.m.
Wow.
And so I was there, and I didn't have to be a rebel, a rebel to them, where some of my friends had to. So kept trust with my parents, but still not much communication about emotions, my emotional being. That probably has to do with the Englishness of my mom and things she didn't break through as a child with her parents. So many things that had to do with emotional things I was going through. I never spoke about them with mom or dad. And so that led me to having a huge internal world as a teenager. And I would walk in the garden, which my house there is surrounded by two rivers and there's many trees. And so I would spend most of the time on my own, just wandering, looking at the trees, talking to the trees. And I remember that I used to dream of having a story bank, of being able to speak with stories.
Right.
I don't know where that idea was planted in my mind. Probably when I started drama, because I thought, oh, this is the world of possibilities. But I couldn't tell a story back
Yeah.
then.
Well, let
Couldn't
me
do it.
ask you, Natalia, I'm so drawn in by your story, and how you talked about that you spoke with your elders. And I grew up speaking with my elders too, and I just like what they had to say and their value. But how do you think that one story could bring a family closer together, specific to your real life story?
Oh, I love that question. That ties in into something that is very deep in my heart at this moment that I shared with Tammy. And it even brings tears to my eyes because that is what I long for the most, the connection between parents and kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can we keep that connection alive? How can we keep the trust, the communication, so that then these teens are not roaming around the world on their own? And when they go through problems, they go and ask for help in the wrong places, get themselves into trouble.
Yeah.
I've been through that as a teen, and there's many things in my early teens that um, I had to work through for decades up until this very moment. Things being in the wrong places with the wrong people that I shouldn't have gone through. as a teen, and my parents had
Right.
no idea.
Right.
It's not their fault. Still, there are tools of storytelling
Yeah.
that can support parents to connect with their children. And this is something that I'm stepping into now. Beyond my business, this is a mission that I believe in, supporting the new generations, teens and parents. So many parents struggle to reconnect with their children.
Yeah.
Once they're teens, it feels that the teen now is in the hands of someone else, whether it is social media or whether it is the institutionalized education, which me being a teacher and teacher trainer, I know it very deeply, and many could call it like a brainwashing center. You know, it's not a place of growth. And they lose their teens and
Yes.
they lose the connection. And there's tools in storytelling that a parent can use to reconnect and not only spark conversation communication instead of just telling them off or lecturing children, but it can make them feel, and can make the teen feel, my dad, my mom is the coolest person on earth. I have so much fun when I talk to mom and dad. Actually, I learn so much. I feel empowered. I feel that I want all my friends to meet my parents. Like, how cool would that be? And I've seen it, and it is when we learn to express ourselves through story. So there are stories that can teach, empower, uplift, connect without us lecturing, which is what we know from the education system. Yes, Tammy, I see your finger.
So I am gonna shout out because Natalia, you have a huge group following us and
Woohoo!
right now here, and I want to say hi to Danelia, if I hope
Daniela,
the word
hello,
right there,
Daniela. Yeah.
Ika, Adriana, Trish, and anybody else that is following, because I know that I don't see everybody's comments and I don't always see everything.
I love the
I
one that we have. Tammy, how do you pronounce that?
Ika.
Eike. Ika. I love that she said, I think it's important for parents to be emotionally available. My parents were not, so you search for it elsewhere. So that just ties right into what Natalia was saying that happened in her teens. And I can tell you a lot of us felt the same, especially a lot of the from my generation. You know, they nicknamed us latchkey kids. And the great thing is we were very independent, we're innovators. But, you know, we did long for that connection that came through story. And maybe that's why Natalia and I and a lot of us connected with our grandparents and elders so much because they were so full of these stories.
Yeah.
And so, Natalia, what do you think is a way that you think today's families can connect through through story? So we understand it like, you know, in an esoteric way, but what might be a really beautiful example that you know happened in your life, or that they could learn from your expertise because, gosh, they're apparently longing for it, huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. One of the most valuable ways is for parents to capture stories from their childhood, stories that are fun, where
Ah,
they
yeah.
learned something or went through fun things, so that they can share them with their kids. Sometimes they think, oh, like they're not gonna care, who cares? But they do, and they want to hear them again and again and again. Then capture stories from their parents and grandparents. There are values that are passed on generationally, and so crafting these stories in an engaging and fun way so that the values are within the story and not told like you should be doing this and that, because then we all feel lectured that way and it doesn't land. But within a story it lands, and then the kid has this imagery and of their grandparents. They know the legacy and they know the values that are being transferred, and the kid starts feeling proud. So collecting these stories, and for this I am doing a masterclass. I'm doing a workshop specifically for this on September the 2nd. And many of the people that are here in the group, Tammy, thank you for giving them a shout out, because here is what is bursting from my heart. As an entrepreneur, I'm stepping into expanding my heart with generosity to supporting more and more causes. And many of my friends that are here on the call, we are doing a leadership course that is stretching us into ways that we never thought possible. One of these ways was, what cause can we step into that has nothing to do with what we've done before, the supporting a charity or supporting something that will stretch us, a charity that is not connected with anything we've done before.
Oh,
And we
no.
said yes, so that it would stretch us in all capacities. For me, it stretched me in the
Wow.
issue of trust. And we chose supporting, standing for children against child trafficking and
Right.
child abuse. And we searched in many organizations. We found one that we trust, Tim Tebow, and we said let's raise funds to this organization because they're doing things. They're
Right.
standing for children, rescuing them, bringing them shelter. And
Right.
so I thought, and we're raising money, and that stretched us. Like, how can we raise money and go beyond what we believe money is in order to support more people? And so I decided that this workshop that I'm giving for parents, every single penny for this workshop goes 100% for charity for this cause.
Wow.
100%. So usually when people work with me, it comes from a 3K fee. From that is the minimum investment with which I work with people, and this is an investment of $197 for a 3-hour workshop for parents to learn the art of storytelling, to craft these story banks, to learn how to reconnect with children, to go from silence to stories. And 100% of all of these funds are going to go into this charity. So parents know that not only they are learning a skill set for lifetime of telling stories and reconnecting with their children, whether it is
Wow.
their kids, nephews, or grandchildren, but also they know that the money that they're investing, it's going 100% into this charitable cause.
Wow. Natalia, that's so generous. You have such a generosity of spirit. And I love that the idea that you gave that really struck me, that really resonated with me. And I hadn't thought about it before because I had always been in connection with worthy causes that were somehow associated to something in, my friend or my background or that kind of thing. Because a lot of times that's how we get personally motivated. But what a growth strategy for ourselves personally and for our families. So you've motivated me to think of that, what I can do with, say, me and my husband, perhaps to maybe spend Thanksgiving with, the homeless, or to do something, to invite them to
Yes.
anything that's different out of the regular worthy cause that we've already been so connected to. We're not going to stop serving them, but I think that it expands us to be out of that mindset. It didn't occur to me after all these years of worthy causes, it didn't occur to me to expand myself with ones that were really outside of my understanding. So that
Yeah.
way I would have the understanding through that very powerful gift of storytelling. So
Oh
that
my,
really struck me. Wow.
thank you, Charlie. Thank you
Well,
so
and when
much.
Natalia had reached out to me about it, what was it, like 3 weeks ago or a month? And I couldn't make it to one of the events she was having. And human trafficking has always been, people don't realize it's out there, or
Oh,
they put on blind blockers. And if this is a way to teach and let other people know and be more aware, so they protect their kids,
Yeah.
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 and I think it's an amazing cause. And I've personally been affected, and I was actually talking to some people that have been kidnapped and different things this past weekend, actually. And so, and
Yeah.
how much that affected, of course, they escaped and different things. But the stories they told me, if we can prevent anything like that, you know, with going forward. So I appreciate, yeah, stepping out of your comfort is huge.
Absolutely. We seriously, Tammy, it's just such a beautiful lesson. I've just felt like I was, again, just so impacted because my work as a national producer on America's Most Wanted, and then growing up in a home of domestic violence, and then working with a lot of people that are survivors of kidnapping, that is the world that I'm most familiar with, but I hadn't been thinking about breaking outside of that world to include other things. And that's part of my lesson from Natalia. I just feel like that I was really just schooled here today on I didn't think I had any other blinders on because I thought I'm so focused on causes, but I think that it opens up our hearts to be even more loving, and it's that little bit of vulnerability,
Yeah.
things that are out of your familiarity, and
Yes.
that's part of that gift to storytelling that maybe gives you that safety bridge to a you know through the story. But wow, I'm just having my revelation over here.
Oh,
So, but
thank
I
you.
do have a question for you, Natalia,
Yes.
because I know a lot of times we get overwhelmed with how do we choose because there's so many beautiful and wonderful organizations out there and we want to help everyone, but and a lot of people struggle with this and they don't help, they end up not helping anyone,
Yeah.
or they
I
feel
had a
like
breakthrough in that.
overwhelmed, or it's
Yeah.
like, what would your suggestion be for that?
Well, what I have is my story of breakthrough for this. When we first thought about doing this project of supporting child trafficking, we had like a time frame in which we had to decide the project and okay, we're starting it and we're raising the funds, and we all pitched different projects, and I was like, oh no, why didn't we choose my project? It seems simpler. And I was I was about to I was in the brink of saying no, and I felt so bad because everyone in the team was on board except for me. So it was my breakthrough. I was I was scared about the topic. I felt that it was such a hard, painful topic that I didn't want to talk about it or look at it. And I had a breakthrough as well when it came to trust. I realized that it had to do with trust. Do I know this organization? Who is this dude, Tim Tebow? Is he really supporting children? And I realized that I would have that distrust in every other organization. I would say, yeah, that's a great cause, but I'm not going to donate and put money there because maybe they're on the wrong side of history. And I worked in humanitarian causes for the last 20 years, big things that have to do with human rights in China. I've been on the front lines, so I know what it is to fight on the front lines. And it all seemed very scary. And my breakthrough is this. I see myself opening up a big charity to transform the system of education in the near future. How will people see me? Will they judge me that same way? Who is this Natalia? Can I trust her? Is she really transforming education? Is she really there standing for children? And I thought, oh my gosh, I am creating this. The way I'm looking at this person and this organization is showing me how people will see me. And it made me feel, okay, I'm stepping into becoming a leader. Now I get to see what leaders face, like what this person is facing. He's in the front lines facing trust, mistrust, doing things. The way I react to this and respond to this will be a reflection of me. I want a world of trust. I want a world in which we trust each other and our humanity and our values, and that we stand for our word, we keep our word. And so I made that shift. Yeah, everyone in the team decided on this organization, I'm gonna trust it. I trust this organization. I trust Tim Tebow. And it's not because it's Tim Tebow. It could have been another one, but it had to do with my breakthrough. And ever since then, it's like we've been as a team generating funds, being out there, and that's the world that I want to create. Just like I trust you, Tammy and Starly, and everyone here following, we trust our humanity. That's the world I want to create. We keep our word, and we support each other and empower each other like parents. I bet that when parents decide to have a child, they want to take care of them. So I want a world in which we trust that the vision we have, we keep it and succeed in it. So this is one mission stepping into this, and there will be other organizations and more mission and more leaders to support that are doing great causes. They're all great. So whoever is following here, I've just heard many people, yeah, I love your cause, but I'm already supporting another organization. Well, yes, and it's abundance possibilities. Here we have a team of people. We are putting all our heart, vision, and effort to raise 35K by September 3rd. We've reached 20, if my numbers are correct, maybe someone in the team, through two different organizations in Canada and Tim Tebow in America. But 23K, we still have 12K to go, and we have 10 days. We know we're going to make it with this heart. And so what this is doing is like opening up possibilities, abundance in others stepping in, others having their breakthrough, like Starly, you're having your own breakthrough, right? And we create more abundance, more possibilities, and we
And
get to stand for our teens.
beautiful,
Awesome. And in
beautiful.
case people haven't really watched about some of the human trafficking that does go on, there's two good movies, Sound of Freedom and Priceless. And I think there's a third one, but I can't remember the name of it. But it lets these that were based on true stories. It lets you know what kind of is going on and how important the human trafficking is. Do vet and check out. We have to recommend that for any charity or any organization. And I know you did, and of course I did too. But Tim Tebow Foundation is legit, and it's a great foundation that helps so many. And also when you have friends like Natalia that's vetted it for you, then you
Yeah,
know she did her due diligence to
yeah.
make sure, because look at her heart. She just shared it with us here of how important it is.
Of course.
Charlie?
I
Yes.
just wanted to. Oh, look, my little hand
Oh,
went
your
actually up.
little hand.
That's
I did it.
funny.
Oh, the emoji went up like there. So this, I have this interesting segue comment between what both Tammy and Natalia are saying. So one, the vetting, and two, Natalia, being the storyteller that has been vetted, that's bringing the story, and three, back to storytelling. When Tammy said that, hey, what do you do? How do you prioritize when you have so many worthy causes that you want to help? And Natalia, you're talking about the gift of expansion. But to segue on that, or rather just to spin off on that, a lot of the times we do feel overwhelmed, but we don't realize the value of our gifts. That it may not be that you're writing a cash check, or it may not be that you went and did the volunteer work. It may be that you made that right connection to put the people into place, like two people that really needed to meet, that made all the difference. Maybe it was that sponsor, or maybe that was the person that needed to be helped, or maybe it was the education that they needed, or maybe they were promoting online through their social. But there's so many non-overwhelming ways that people can help, and the description of non-overwhelming is whatever is not overwhelming to you. For me, it's not overwhelming to connect people. For other people, if they're maybe a little bit shy about it, or they don't want to ask of their friends or connections. So I would say that we can be creative about how we want to be connected. If a story's impacted us, we can be creative, because I know I wish I could help all the causes. And like Tammy said, well, how do you prioritize? Well, I want to be expansive too, but don't a lot of us get home or saying, wow, I feel expansive at home already, so there's a lot going on here. So I think if we could just pull from our unique creative talents and resources,
Yeah,
that's most leveraging our heart and less leveraging our stress on time. If we're all doing that, we really can make a really big difference as opposed to us all trying to do the same thing. We may not have the same, sources emotionally or financially or time wise. So this is
Yeah.
the lesson I was getting from the both of you guys. It kept like, you guys kept
Mm,
overlapping these great points, and I just wanted to kind of,
yeah.
present it.
And
Well, because it's like
standing
you
for
said, it's money
humanity.
or it can be time or
Yeah.
something creative. You can donate. There's so many different ways. I just know from a past experience, at one time I was giving 45 hours a week of just my time,
Yeah, yeah,
which was a lot
yeah,
because I was afraid to say no
yeah,
because I loved each and everything and I wanted to help. And and you still don't feel like you're doing enough. And then I realized I wasn't doing myself any good because I was spreading so thin. But it's a learning experience, and there's so many wonderful organizations. But I am so afraid because Natalia has to go here shortly. But Natalia, where can they find you? You're going to put links, I know, for her classes that you're having here. Is it tomorrow or the next day? So if
So
anybody's interested, to be sure, or if you want to donate to the fund, I wanted you to definitely give me that link so we can put it even under our Monday marketing. So if
yeah.
anybody's interested, they could donate there as well.
Yes, of course. So here is responding to you, Tammy, and also to Starly. So a very kind and loving way to support this cause for me, this creative way is developing our skill sets so that we create that connection with our teens, whether you are a parent or an auntie, an uncle, or you're a grandparent, or you just want to connect with teens, you want to expand on the skill set of storytelling so that you pass on values and these teens feel inspired. They know where to ask for help. They can start expressing themselves to you, and you can become the number one confidant, and then they don't go astray in life without sharing their problems and getting into situations they don't know how to get out of. So here is the workshop that I'm hosting is September the 2nd. If you want to be part of this workshop, first I want to ask you to say story in the comments, so that'll give me a prompt. I'm in the process of crafting the landing page for this workshop, which is it's going to be on natalianutting.com/ from silence to stories. And so probably by the end of the day, that landing page will be ready. So the workshop is September the 2nd, is at 2 p.m. Eastern time, that is 11 a.m. Pacific time, for 3 hours. And it's $197. Every single penny, 100% of this will go to the Tim Tebow Foundation. So it'll be paid through our fundraising link. So you know that 100% goes there. So in this, you will learn a skill for lifetime and also donate. So it's like yes and everything is great from this. And so please say story in the comments so that I know that. And having said that, you can follow me on Facebook, Natalia Nutting, the storyteller. You can follow me through my webpage, natalianutting.com. And if you want to donate right now, just say donate in the comments. We give you the link to donate. If you do donate 197, then you have like access to this workshop. And
A quick
I
question
just
now. Is your workshop
yeah,
recorded?
of course it is recorded. For those that
Awesome. And
cannot
so they can
attend,
have access to that.
exactly. For those that cannot attend, you will have the recording of the workshop. You will have all the assets plus 10-minute one-on-one with me to review your story for feedback, and plus all the framework and prompts to tell stories to your teens. So let's build that connection. Let's build this human authentic skill that we have of storytelling, passing down values. So this will have to do with your authentic stories as a parent or adult that will resonate with teens. I've done this for decades. I worked in the education system. Teens resonate with me so much. I love working with teens, and it's because I start every lesson telling my authentic story of when I've been in their shoes, and so they open up and they feel that they trust me. They go from silence and from looking at me up and down like, are you the drama teacher? Like, to opening, sharing their deepest truths that they don't share with anyone. I want that for you. I want that for every one of you, because if you care for children, you want to build that trust, you want them to open up, you want to build that connection, and you want to be the person that they're proud of, the person that is the number one confidant that they go to. And so for that, we have to be able to communicate better, express ourselves better, and resonate with them, with how they're feeling. And for that, we get to craft our stories of when we've been in their shoes. What was the golden nugget we got from it, so that we are not lecturing and imposing, but we are resonating with them. So this is the workshop. It's going to be September 2nd, from stories to silence, a storytelling workshop for parents, aunties, uncles, grandparents, to connect with teens. You'll learn the craft of storytelling, the prompts. You'll have feedback from me, and all of the funds go directly to the Tim Tebow Foundation to Stand for Children.
Lovely. I wanted to ask really quick, what was the name of the workshop?
From silence to stories.
I'm
Thank
just
you. Did I say it the other way around?
well, I guess it could be, because it's just a full circle thing there, but I was
It's a
just
full
double
circle.
checking, just
Yeah,
double
thank you.
checking in support of you and our
Yeah.
beautiful messaging.
Thank you, Stanley.
I love it. I just want to say thank you for being here. It's been such an honor, Natalia. I always love having you on here. So thank you so much for everything. And of course, you're welcome to, to post those positive and inspiring quotes, or if you have a little short stories or anything. I love it. And of course, post anything under our Monday marketing. And that goes for any of our guests if you have something to share. And so be sure to check it out. And like she said, if you want to just donate, then put it on there. If you're interested in the stories, we'll have those different links for you. I want to say thank you to Starly, who I'm always honored to have as my co-host. I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate each and every one of you that follows here, listens, tunes in, whether it's live or later. We appreciate it. Ask those questions. And I want to throw out there is I appreciate when you do share those posts that are such positive, beautiful quotes. It lightens each and everybody's day. So thank you so much. You can check more out at our website, unlockingfreedominnature.com. And if you ever have any questions, just holler. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great day.